How many rabbits could I possibly have if I was to start rabbit farming in January of 2025? If I was to start with two female rabbits, which are the does, and one buck, how many rabbits would I have by the end of 2025? Given that I'm not keen on selling, I'm very keen on developing my farm. If I'm to start from now up to the end of the year, how many am I possibly going to get? This is Rabbito Farmino, and Happy New Year in advance. Hope you had a good time. Well, the answer is depending on how I approach it. So let's assume that I'm starting with two does and one buck, all of them fully matured. Now, there are some few things to consider when thinking about this kind of equation. The number of rabbits I could possibly get at the end of the year would depend on so many factors. The factors includes the reproductive rate of the rabbits I'm selecting to start with, the age of sexual maturity, and how I manage my breeding. So let's dive deep into it, a little bit deeper into it. So let's assume the rabbits I get are fully matured. That's 6 months, 5 to 6 months. And the reproductive cycle of these rabbits, which means how often I can breed them. Let's say I can have new rabbits every 3 months. So if I can have new rabbits every 3 months, then it means my two does are going to give birth within the year. They're going to give birth at the least 3 divided by 12, 5 times in a year. No, sorry, 4 times in a year. I beg your pardon, 4 times in a year. So if averagely each rabbit is giving birth to 5, it means from the two mothers, I am going to get at least 5 times 2, which is 10 for the two of them, by 4, which means I'm going to get 40 babies from the two mothers within the year. Now, this is where it gets exciting. Let's assume the 40 babies that I'm going to get, let's assume that half of these 40 babies are also females. Now, rabbits get matured between 5 and 6 months. So by the time we get to June, July, I would have the first litter ready to start breeding. And this is where it depends on the number of babies that you have that are going to produce. Let's say, for argument's sake, from the first litter of 5, 5, 10, you have, let's say, 4 females out of the 10. If the 4 females start producing for you from June, July, let's say from July, start producing from July, and they are producing 5 each, then you're looking at, from the 4 of them, you're getting 20 rabbits. And if they start producing at that point, you will get at least them producing twice before the year ends. So from them, you are getting at least, it gets crazy. So you see where we are going from 3 rabbits. If you manage properly and you have the good breeds, then there is no doubt that you are very quickly going to have a whole lot of rabbits that you have to manage. Then, but let's consider these factors. The type of breed that you're going to use to start is very important. Now, I believe that in Africa, the main objective of rabbit farming is meat production. If meat production is your top priority, then you have to look into getting the right breeds to start. Because if you go and start your meat production with a lion head, which is known to be a small breed or medium breed, small to medium breed, then they are going to be 6 months and they would not even achieve 2 kilograms of weight. But what you should rather consider is getting the right breeds like New Zealand. I am going to recommend New Zealand white or New Zealand red to start with. You will know that by the time the kids are, which is the baby rabbits, by the time they are 3 months, they'll be hitting the 2 kilograms mark. And if you decide to sell them as meat rabbit, you will get a return of your hard-earned investment and time that you've invested into. So number one is the breed that you're going to start your farming with. Now, another factor that is very important is the environment you're going to keep them in. Because if the mothers are not comfortable, they will not be producing as much. There are so many factors in between. But the good thing about starting small is that you are able to control things. You are able to know about the animals. You're able to observe them better before they start getting bigger. Because if you start big, it may be too much for you. So even though I didn't listen and I started big, we started big, I think if I had a chance again, I would have started small and expand as I go. Because rabbits, when you give them the right environment, when you give them the right rooms, they will produce very quickly for you. The next thing is I will look into the feeding aspect. I know that is something that Africa we are lacking, and we are like very much behind with the way we treat our rabbit feed. Most of us are using the powdered formulated feed, and this is not the best for the rabbit, to be honest with you. And therefore, I will consider what kind of feed. I will not give them exactly what the chicken eats, because rabbits' metabolic system, their system is not the same as chicken. And therefore, you don't want to give them exactly what you give to chickens. So, what are you waiting for? Start a rabbit farm, start your rabbit keeping, and then eventually grow it into a farm. Make sure you give them enough room. I will say the standard room should be 3 feet by 2.5 feet. 3 feet by 2.5 feet, and the height should be about 1.5 feet high. And this will give them a chance to stretch. You don't want them to stress. You want them to be happy and producing for you. Keep rabbits away from dogs unless the dogs are calm. Rabbits adapt very quickly. So if by the time you bring them there is a dog there already, they will quickly get used to the dogs. They will even adjust to the dog barking. Keep them safe so that they are not scared. When rabbits' mothers are scared, it may disturb or it may hamper on the way they produce. So be aware of all these things. I hope you're ready to start rabbit breeding, rabbits keeping right now. And if you are, consider the New Zealand red or New Zealand white as your go-to. They are resilient to diseases. They are very good with the African environment, the heat. They are good with the cold as well. And they grow very quick. So good luck to you. And I hope you start your rabbit breeding in the right way. I'm going to put a video up there that will tell you how I started, the mistakes I made, the mistakes we made. And that's the reason why I'm making this video, because I don't want you to repeat the same mistakes. Hope you have a good year. Rabbito Farmino. See you in the next video.